Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome to this evening's episode of Philosopher King. We've got a special guest with us tonight. But before I bring him up, you all know him very well. I want to remind you guys to go to Philosopher King Podcast.substack.com for, of course, all of the wonderful podcast content that we have coming out all the time. The Phone Booth Boys and I. One of those Phone Booth Boys, of course, as you know, is the one and only Snoop Von Poop. What's up, brother?
What up, playa?
Welcome to the Philosopher King.
I know. I feel so out of my element on this one.
Nah, it's great. So how long? It feels like so much longer that the four of us have known each other and been podcasting. But how long has it been? It's back since June, right?
Well, yeah, that sounds about right. Let's see. I'm on episode 32, so that would be 32 weeks.
Yeah. So I mean, and then
And it was probably a month and a half prior to that too. So
yeah. So June. That's like we're coming up on 10 months almost. So it's good stuff, man. But it feels like I've known you for years.
right.
It's nice. Yeah,
Wow,
it's
we've
cool.
only had 3,000 conversations.
Right? I know. Yeah, no, it's interesting. So, like, all right, so you and I had a conversation earlier. I want to kind of start to dig in a little bit because
Okay.
when we were talking over the last a week or so about various things, and one of the things we talked about is not changing for anybody, not doing what anybody wants just because they want it, but like staying true to yourself or staying true to your principles or whatever. Like, tell me more about that. Like, as a man, like, what do you feel like?
Mm.
Because you're a pretty confident guy. I can see that, right? So there's, yeah,
That's an interesting question, man. And I want to answer this without giving too many details because, I don't want to share too much with the group. But what I will say is just yesterday, as a matter of fact, was conflicted with a situation that I found my principle in question, and I have to stand for what I believe in. You know, it's like I'm creating something and I have to stick true to myself with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I have to stand up on principle for what I believe in, not to compromise my brand and my creative outlet. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Well, and it's interesting because like for me the struggle, because I mean I'm a confident guy as well, but like for me sometimes like the what you encounter is when you actually really care. Like I'm thinking of a situations a couple months ago when I really care for someone, and so I want to oblige, but at the same time I'm like, no, I can't do. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting
Well,
balance between kind of being too headstrong and being, you know,
it's I guess it's similar in that, like, if you have someone that's like going through addiction or something and they're asking for some sort of help, maybe financially through that addiction, it's like you kind of got to go on principle, like, no, I'm not going to enable you. That's standing
yeah,
up and having principle. you know
yeah, yeah. No, I had a friend years ago that it was actually, yeah, the situation was ended up spiraling out of control, but it was more my relationship with them spiraled out of control because it's like as soon as I put up a boundary, then I got to see that that person really didn't care about me, but they cared about what I could profit them or that what they could gain from me.
hmm
And um, it's just really interesting because once you do, I think the best way to find out actually how much of a friend or how much somebody cares about you actually is putting up a boundary, because they'll respect it if they care,
yeah,
even if
absolutely.
they don't agree with the reason for the boundary.
No means no, damn it.
Yeah, there's it's funny because like throughout my life I feel like that's changed in me. I think maybe do you think it's just a maturity thing, like as you grow older you get kind of more solidified in what you know to be right and wrong, or
Well, yeah, because I think you're going off of experience and wisdom at this point. When you're young, dumb, full of piss and vinegar, it's a different situation. Now you've got more to stand on. You've got more background and experience. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you've been burned before. You've seen this scenario play out.
That's right. Learned that lesson before.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's funny after a few relationships or whatever, and I'm thinking of romantic relationships, but after a few, well, no, let's broaden the conversation. So also just like friend relationships, there was a situation actually, but before I get into the situation, what's funny is you only make this, you should only be making the same mistake in the friendship or relationship context like so many times, you know. If you're repeating the same mistake, it could become an issue, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. You keep. That's the definition of insanity, right? Making the same mistake over and over.
Yeah. You know, I learned a huge lesson actually from the other side of it where I wasn't respecting someone's boundaries. I wasn't respecting what they put up, or their preferences, even. And I lost a friend from it because I think it was in high school. I was like maybe 16. And I remember I had a buddy of mine had season tickets for the San Jose Earthquakes, the soccer team. And we were in the Casbah that on the end, right behind the goal. And it was so fun. Like we'd always just, everybody be on their feet most of the game in the Casbah with the drums and the chants and everything. It was awesome. But a buddy of mine, like, so the guy who had the season tickets was like, "Hey, I can't go here. The two tickets are yours." And I'm like, "Sick." So I called this buddy of mine. We hang out. We used to hang out all the time. And I was like, "Let's go, Jake." And he's like, "I'm just not really feeling it, man." And I'm like, "Come on, come on, come on." So I just like basically nagged him like like a little bitch for like 25 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever it was. And I was just like, "Nah, it'll be fun, man. You'll like it once you get out there. Come on, come on." Finally, he agreed begrudgingly. He went. Clearly wasn't really enjoying himself, though he kind of sort of tried, but and then he just never called me to hang out again after that. And I don't blame him, frankly, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it seems like every time, that I've been put in that similar situation, it's a similar scenario. Something bad comes from it, because it wasn't meant to be.
yep.
It's like forcing the hand or forcing a situation that otherwise wouldn't have played out this way.
Well, and what I showed him is I wanted him there for myself to not be alone rather than because I cared about him authentically, right? So,
No.
lesson learned. Now, now it's funny. I think I exaggerate to the other extreme. I'm like, I try to make it easier for people not to come than to come if I'm inviting them somewhere, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'd rather you want to be there, you know? Um, what about the flip side? What would you say, like, I don't know, what do you think are the most important elements in a friendship?
I think just honesty and loyalty, man. Like if I invite you into my home, you're close to me. You know what I mean? You're my friend. And so, you better be honest and I guess by loyal, I mean loyal to where you're not going to hurt me in some way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, well, and also like, yeah, I mean, I guess that hurt extends beyond just obviously physical harm. But like,
Sure. Don't steal from me, shit like that.
yeah, or like, you know what? One thing that I think is really underestimated in our day and age, especially with social media, where so much information is public. I think we've kind of lost as a culture respect for like someone's private personal information. You know, like
Sure.
oftentimes like that for me is a big betrayal when if I share with somebody some personal information and I find out that they're talking they passed it on, so to speak, you know.
Right. Right.
That to me is a oftentimes a wound of like a reputational wound is something you can't really that's like there's a reason why I guess moral theologians back in the day call it against the commandment not to murder because you're murdering someone's reputation. You can't really
Yeah.
fix that, you know?
Well, I think, like using the same thing that we were just talking about, as you get older, you start to recognize certain characteristics about people and you can start to decipher who you share certain information with. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's like certain friends I can go talk to about a certain subject matter, and other friends a different subject matter. You know what I mean? And there's certain details I might share with someone, certain details I might not share with this person.
Hmm.
And it's just like as you go through life, you get to learn to read people. Poker players are good at it. You know.
Yeah. It's really funny. There's a body type personality analysis thing that I found, and like somebody who has, they said that evolutionarily, I mean, family genetics, microevolution, we would say possibly, but people who have thinner, tight lips are typically better at keeping secrets.
Okay.
So if you see someone sitting out there, don't trust them.
Oh
I
man.
love I love that kind of person, the kind of stuff, that personality analysis, like whether it's like the physical stuff or the handwriting analysis or like the Myers Briggs. Have you ever been in that stuff?
No, what is Myers Briggs? I'm probably familiar with it, but I just don't recognize it by name.
You've heard people say like, "Oh, are you an ENTJ or an ISFP?" Or
Oh
like,
no,
there's the four letters
no.
that. So it's like 16 different types. But anyway, so like the first letter is either an I or an E, and that means you're either introverted or extroverted.
Okay.
The second letter is either an N or a T. ENTP. No, it's either an N or an S because you're either an intuitor or a sensor. The third letter is either a T or an F because you're either a thinker or a feeler. And then the last one is INTP. P. Anyways, I don't know why I don't remember those right now. But
Yeah,
anyways,
and,
it's
I,
really
and I'm the
interesting.
pothead in the group, dude. What the fuck?
Whoa. I'll blame it on the fasting, okay?
Oh, it must be the fasting. Did you start that today?
Yeah, so yesterday we went live for about an hour and we kind of talked about it.
I
And we
seen
kind
you
of
go live,
invited
but I
people.
didn't get to see it. But
So right before that, I had a steak, and then that's the last thing I've eaten.
and your goal
So
is 7 days,
yeah, 5 to 7. I'm not sure yet.
five to
Five.
seven, and are you just doing water only? Is that the deal?
Yep, just water with fasting salts, man.
Fasting
Um,
salts. Okay.
yeah, so I'm a little. I've been doing the nicotine supplements for the past 6 months or so because I've heard it's really good for your health. So I've been working up a nicotine addiction. Normal. I was kidding.
Yeah, completely.
I've been working on it.
Are
Most
you
people,
are you doing like the other stuff like I know you dabble with that methylene blue once in a while.
yeah. So I stopped. I haven't done methylene blue in a little while, um, and I've kind of dialed back on a lot of the supplements for the last couple months. But there's a couple I still take, like vitamin D and things like that. But what's interesting
So if
is,
I got this correct, it's water. I was gonna say smelling salts, but fasting salts and vitamin D and nicotine. That's the healthy
so I,
diet.
I didn't take my last dose of nicotine today because midway through the day I tested and my ketones are at zero. They should be high. It should be really high after almost a full day of not eating. So the only thing I can think of that would possibly is because they have like the mint flavors in it or something. So maybe
Mm,
I looked it up. It said it wouldn't disrupt the fast. So we'll see. So I'm not taking those anymore.
mm.
But we'll see. I mean, it's really good. The benefits, like especially on the cellular level, is what I'm really
Yes,
excited about. So
yes, regenerating those cells. Yes, it's very good for you.
yeah, and like the stem cell divisions, those are fascinating.
You know who that Mindy Robinson girl is? She did the Las Vegas shooting videos, the
Yeah,
documentaries. She just did a fast recently, and she was posting a lot about it. And she said she was feeling great. After I don't know if she did 5 or 7 days, but one of the two.
yeah. The longest I've done is 7 water only, and I felt great. Yeah, I felt great. I was ready. I was ready for a steak at the end of that 7th day, though.
Yeah, yeah. I'll give it a shot. One of these days. I was
Yeah.
gonna try to do it with you, and then I just kind of lost track of the time. And I mean, I could still start at a day behind, I suppose.
Yeah, that's why when I published the episode and put it on Substack, I didn't say that was, oh, join us in a 5 day fast or whatever, because I didn't want people to feel like they couldn't just jump in and join us.
Yeah. Well, it's like, like the Tony Robbins program, even though they say to start on a Monday, you can start on any day. You just have to apply it to your schedule.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's kind of funny too. Like, I almost feel like New Year's resolutions backfire on a lot of people because they'll wait till New Year's to make a positive change because they're like, oh, that'll be my New Year's resolution.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then when that goes by the wayside because they take on too much, probably,
Well, that's
you
like,
know.
me saying I'm gonna quit smoking tomorrow because tomorrow's New Year's. So that's stupid. If I want to quit, just quit now. I quit smoking cigarettes on Christmas Day, and it wasn't like a real plan or anything. And I don't even smoke that often. It's mostly when I hang around my friends that smoke, you know.
That was this Christmas.
Yeah, so what is that? 2.5 months now, or
Nice, dude.
whatever it is. Um, but I mean, I'm going from smoking, a couple cigarettes a month to nothing, so it's really not that
Yeah,
big of a step.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like I'm a pack a day guy. Sounds like you're on a pack a day though.
It does sound that way, doesn't it? Man, man.
For those of you listening that can't hear it, he's muting his mic every time he coughs.
That's why you look at me go quiet occasionally here. Um, yeah, no, but yeah, I think that's part of why I wanted to do a fast again is because I get this. My mom dealt with it for decades as well, but there's like this the acidity in your stomach gets too low. That's what causes indigestion. It's not too high of acidity. So when people get like acid reduction, like acid reducers or antacids, I should say, they're
Yeah.
actually perpetuating the problem
Mm.
because
Whereas
what
they
happened.
whereas they should probably drink something like baking soda or something.
Well, I mean, there's a number of things they could do, but you want to get your acidity in your stomach
Right.
higher.
Alkalized, right? You want it alkalized?
No, you want it acidic. You want your stomach
Mm.
acidic as possible
Then why do
because
they tell you to alkalize your body so diseases can't live in it?
I think there's a difference between the rest of your body and the stomach.
Oh,
I think the rest
so
of your
that's
body should be
strictly the stomach.
alkalized.
So how do
Yeah.
you maintain both?
Well, I think the acidity in your body comes not from what you drink or from anything else. It comes from primarily your metabolic health because your mitochondria burn on two different settings. Basically, they're either burning oxygen and like healthy fuel, or they're burning sugar, glucose. And if
Mm-hmm.
they burn sugar, that glucose, it dumps acidity into the cell, and over time that'll build up. But if you're eating a clean diet and a good diet, and your mitochondria and like preserving your metabolic health, your mitochondria, then you're not going to have that acidity build up.
Mm. Yeah, I need to get into that stuff more because it really is important to one's health to balance everything out.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I said, man, I feel like such a dummy sometimes. I get myself in these conversations with people like you, and I'm like, "What, man, what? What are you talking about? Metabolism? What?
Metabolizification.
I love that band, dude."
Yeah, right. That's funny. Excuse me. Didn't mute fast enough that time. um, no, I mean it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff, and that's where like I don't know. I really started biohacking just a couple years ago. Like I didn't really spend that much time paying. I mean, granted, I was surrounded by my mom growing up. It was like all these homeopathic remedies all the time, natural remedies, and so I was already thinking along those lines.
Hmm.
But I really kind of just I'm kind of a nerd too, you know. Kind of get on a research dive, but
Well, it's that's the beauty of having these tools at our fingertips. The internet and access to people too. You have access to experts in fields now that you can just message or build relationships with. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
well, and even just to pivot slightly to a concept more like about having access to people, like how much the news and our awareness of narratives and what's going on actually in the world has changed in the last even just accelerated in the last few years, because we're not like you used to have to like get your knowledge of everything from just what was on cable. You wouldn't even have
If you could afford it.
right.
You know, otherwise you had the basic four, the ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox.
Yeah, like the local channels.
Yeah.
But
And that's
I don't
how they
know.
pushed their propagandas on those main four that fucked everybody up.
I know. I wonder if you would have had the same sexual revolution in the 80s and the 70s, 60s and 70s, if you didn't have some of the technology, you know.
You mean if you had some back then?
Well, no, because I mean, when was the TV invented? I don't remember.
Oof. I mean, probably the
They had it in the
1800s.
60s.
Yeah, well, I was going to say
They
the
had it in the
18
60s, right?
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, I think it was invented, but I think it didn't become commonplace till probably the 50s and 60s. Is when people started having them in the house.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So, because what I was thinking is like those huge like sexual revolutions, the social justice, and like all these other things, they finally had access into people's homes where they could pump all of this propaganda. I
Hmm.
wonder if that's part of why the cultural change really accelerated, like after World War II, basically.
Yeah, well, because before that, they put the propaganda on the radio and in newspapers and whatnot.
Still effective, but less powerful, I would think, right?
Yeah, I mean, look at Edward Bernays. That's how he started before TV. They kind of all put together. I mean, we touched on some of this stuff in some of the episodes we've done before, but like with the Tavistock Institute and stuff like that. It's just an arm of propaganda that gets pushed through media.
Yeah. And this now they're in our pockets. It's not just in the living room,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, if
And
anything, like with the sexual revolution, I would say that more probably came from the music. You know, the music being pumped out.
yeah, fair. Fair.
Things like the Beatles, the Stones, stuff like that. The Who, Elvis, even before them.
Yeah, I mean yeah, I'm just thinking of kind of like the huge cultural change that happened. Really, one of the phone booth podcast guests actually said, I think his name was Dan. It's like 2 or 3 months ago. He said something that really stuck with me. He said that because he's like 75, 80 years old, um, and they asked him what he felt was the turning point in his in his lifetime of like uh, our culture, right? And he said it was Roe v. Wade. That was when he saw everything unravel. I was expecting civil rights movement. I was expecting him to say any number of other things, but it was interesting to me that he said Roe v. Wade.
Hmm. Yeah. And that's a tricky one. It's it's a touchy subject for a lot of people. And it's one that should have been overturned. They didn't really want it. I think, Donnie T, when he says that culture and society didn't want it, I believe that to be true. You know, I
Well,
think the other thing, like that helped that time was the LSD helped, shift culture, from love, and then they outlawed that stuff, and then we lost all sorts of stuff. That love revolution ended, and then like so did creative design stuff. Like if you look at how cars were manufactured back then, they were beautiful, they were works of art, there was creative minds thinking while doing these things, and then they outlaw that stuff, and look what it turns into. The 70s and 80s is kind of bland, and like they lost that, you know
yeah, just different shades of brown and everything.
yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's interesting too, like the cyclic nature of a lot of these fads and fashions that go with the times too. That's kind of intriguing because like for a while there, bell bottoms came back when they hadn't been around since the 70s or whatever, the 80s or whatever.
hmm
And then like the aviators used to be big back in the day, and then it was like the small, and now back to it's like they're always it's very much. I feel like they're always just trying to go through a rotation to continue to get the newest generation to see themselves as different from the last one and define their style and spend more money, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, generations change too. I don't want to dress like my mother did,
How about your father though? Would you dress like he did?
Well, no, I mean, him either. I mean, he was you know, he's a, I, the only reason I use my mother as a reference is because my father was never really around. So I don't have too many father references.
Yeah, fair, fair.
But,
Well, it's funny because
in fact, I think I only have one picture of me and him.
oh wow, I didn't realize
Yeah.
that.
And I'm in
Yeah,
a stroller. So that tells you how
there you
old I
go.
was. Yeah.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, I think we talked about something similar to this not long ago, but we were talking about the importance of parents in the actually last Saturday stream.
Hmm.
We talked about the importance of having a parent. Like my experience in the shortcomings that I mean, no man is perfect, right? So my father just may have had less shortcomings because at least he tried to be there, you know. But like I feel like the shortcomings that I had, I ended up finding like a father like figure or influence in my life to help me grow in the ways that my own father didn't as a man. Have you found that? Like, have you found other men in your life
Sure.
around you that have
Yeah.
taken stepped into that role?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've talked a little bit about some of it. When I became a ball boy for the Suns, two former players were like father figures to me, and that's how I became a ball boy. Connie Hawkins and Neil Walk, former Phoenix Suns players. So they kind of you know, took on some of that role, and they would make me call them every day, make sure my grades were good, and they would teach me some sort of work ethics. I would go down to and this is all before I was a ball boy. I would go down to the arena and the executive offices, and I would help out in their media department and community relations and just do whatever I could. I'd run around and talk to all kinds of the coaches and the owners and the owners' kids I would see around there. And that's what led into me becoming a ball boy. I've had my first girlfriend, her dad was like a father figure to me. Now it's unfortunate we've had a little bit of a falling out,
Mm-hmm.
because I've seen over the years. Well, on top of things, I'm not with the girl, so I mean that's a big thing. And then,
Yeah.
but we always remained close up until just a few years ago. And it's like her mother died actually, and she was kind of like the glue, maybe holding it together. But it's just like you see people differently as you get older. You see some of the things they've done over the years, and you connect dots, and you're like, "Oh shit, that ain't cool," And then your opinion changes of them, and things happen.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
and then you go so long without talking to people, and but there's always been like positive male role models that I can look up to, and that have helped me be there.
Yeah. It's interesting this whole idea of men needing a man to initiate them into manhood. Like we don't. That's a journey for us from day one. You know.
Well, I think it helps you develop that confidence and stuff, like
Mhm.
growing up around all women, I felt like I didn't have a man teaching me to do so, and I still to this day I have uh I suffer from that. There's certain things I don't know how to do, like maintenance on cars and shit is something. Maintenance around the house, construction type stuff. I can do some things, and I'm pretty okay at it, but I just don't have that the that thumb to do it.
Mhm.
It's little
Yeah.
things like that.
My dad was pretty white collar, so I never learned any of that stuff growing up either. It took other relationships to teach me that down the road, and I still don't know like very much. Like I'm kind of similar to you actually in certain ways.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I was luckily there was a guy that I started businesses with when I was, 19, 20 years old, and he taught me computers. So, and he was, 10 years older than me. So he's not really a father figure, but he was an older male that I could look up to and learn from, almost like a bigger brother type person.
Mm-hmm.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, I've had people like that, around me my whole life, so that's kind of nice. And even, I'll throw El Poopy on that list. Even though I'm older than him, I learn from him sometimes. You know what I mean? So they don't have to be older to be an influence upon me.
Yeah. And I guess that's a good point. I think it's different for sure, but I think, as men we can all learn, I mean men and women, we can all learn something from each other and we can all give something to each other.
Yeah, for sure. The beauty of the human.
That's right. Yeah. No, it's interesting. The have you heard the phrase? It's from a something of a controversial podcast, but they say
Phone booth
often,
podcast, is
right?
it?
Um, they will occasionally say women, men have to become, women just are.
Say that again.
Men have to become, women just are. And even though I don't think it's appreciated the tone with which they with that how it says that women just are, because it seems very diminutive. But I think what the message that's trying to be is like, men by default, they don't really have much value as a partner in life until they make something of themselves, because it's going to be on us to protect and provide, as men. Like, that's just the way that things work. So like
Yeah.
we have to get to that point where we can do that, and that's a process, and it's tough, and it takes a long time. Whereas, as soon as a woman is of age, she's wifeable. I mean, if she wants to have kids, she's
Well,
she's good to
that's
get married.
that's like about that question you asked that other guy. Like if you were to ask me, I'd say one of those turning points was giving women the right to vote. Now I know this where this is going, but maybe that's one of those turning points in history that kind of changed the scope of the future for generations. I mean, I'm not saying that women shouldn't have the right to vote. Okay. I think everybody should. But it was just simpler times back then, and it was more human nature. Like you said, the man is the protector, provider, and the woman raises the home and the children and whatnot. And that was a much simpler time. Now men don't get up and give their seat to a woman on the bus anymore. Shit like that. You lose all the little things in life that, you know,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
you
it's
lose you lose the
interesting.
chivalry, I guess.
Yeah. It's interesting that you mention the voting, and because I strongly agree that was also a turning point in the negative way, in the negative direction for our culture, but not for the reason I think most people immediately assume. It's primarily because voting was for the household up until they gave
Hmm.
women the vote, and then it became a personal, private, individual, me versus you. Am I part of the many, or am I part of the few? Rather than, let me vote, let me think about what's good for this household, and the people who are I'm responsible for within it, and let me cast my vote for the good of the family that I manage, that I care for.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's just like, mom and dad may disagree, and mom and dad, whatever, the adults in the home might like argue about politics or political policy or whatever, and they're just thinking about something completely other than the family.
Well, I mean, it's just been a destruction of the family unit for, gosh, what, going on 100 years now. You know, starting with that whole women's suffrage movement. But really, what it boiled down to was only one person in the house was paying taxes. Let's split up the home. Now we've got two people paying taxes. Let's put the children in the care of the state to raise them. And then and that just keeps building and building and building. And then you have in the 80s, you have um the destruction of urban communities with the influx of drugs, and quite frankly, who brought those in? Those three-letter agencies. And then you have the whole gay movement, the LGBTQ movement, and it's all geared towards destroying the family unit. And the
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly.
So I mean, it's nothing new, and it still continues to this day. you know
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Well, and it's interesting too, because I think most women I mean, correct me, ladies, if you if you
And
disagree.
we know that you're watching.
Yeah. So good evening, Infinite. Good evening.
What up,
Good evening,
Foray?
Foray. What's up, Haywood? Um. So yeah. So I think most women, like, if if there's a important or stressful situation that's up that they have to, like, they don't want to make the decision. Most women would rather, like, no, let him take care of it. The car broke down, he's got to fix it. Okay, yeah, let him take care of it. Like, I'll make
Hmm.
sure everything's warm and cozy when he gets back. Like, but I think that's the instinct, and yet there's the social movements that we have had, very communist in a lot of ways, are all about, like, victim class versus privileged class. And even if people aren't like, well, my life, most women would, like, if you talk about abortion, most women that I've ever talked to, no matter how progressive, most of them would be like, I would never have an abortion, but I'm not going to tell someone else what to do with their life.
Right.
Most women today would be like, I don't want to run a household, but I'm not going to tell anybody else not, like, like, I don't know. It's interesting that, like, I think subjectively, I think most women would actually agree and prefer the patriarchal traditional family, but ideologically they just can't get behind it for some reason.
Well, yeah, that's because they have everybody telling them why they shouldn't.
Yeah.
You have a bunch of bullshit being shoved down your throat. That's not entirely true.
At least Foray agrees. I love it.
But
Yeah, it's interesting.
do you think there's a way to shift back?
I know Vince would criticize me for saying that I'm black pilled for saying this, but no. I think that at a certain point, a corrupt culture needs to fall apart, and another culture that has these values instilled will come and replace
So basically, we need to make shrooms not only legal but required.
it.
Is that the deal? We
Is
spread
was
love.
was that the translation that came through the waves? Like, is this thing working?
I mean, I think it might be possible, but
Well,
it's just
and
like the love has to overcome all the evil.
well, here's the thing. Other than being an amazing podcast that happened last night on Snoop's channel at 6 p.m. EST, I will never get over the marketing genius of that name. By the way, because I hear it in every podcast I listen to
I
now. I'm
know
like,
it's everywhere.
ah. um, but unfortunately, what happens is entropy, right? Like, things move towards disorder. Like, things don't. Now, can good men rise up and restore order in this country? Honestly, that's what I hoped Trump was going to do when he first came on the scene, but it doesn't really look like that now.
I had an interesting thought about this today, though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it is possible that it could still happen with this Epstein stuff that keeps coming out. Like, everybody's seeing how corrupt and vast it really is, you know? And it really ties back to a certain country who will not be named.
well, well, that's the thing. Like, I don't understand. The only way that I would ever that Trump could prove to me that he's not actually part of the problem is he has to stop putting any country's interest above our own, whether it's the one that you just referenced or even the continent of Antarctica. I'm just kidding.
Well, I
But
think the only way he even ascends to president is by playing ball with them. I don't think he gets there without playing ball.
well, and that's the strongest argument for me for, like, acknowledging that he had to, up to a point, he had to play ball there, right? But now, if before he leaves, if he doesn't distance himself and put some protections against further remote control from that country, then we're not better off.
No,
In fact,
exactly.
all we've done now is consolidated the information and the surveillance, given it to AI, most of whom are controlled by that same country. And what are you going to do now? I mean, what next? It's just I don't. It's not black pill either. It's just honest with
Yeah.
what we're seeing. Like if I was black pilled, I never would have had optimism with Trump in the first place, right? So
Well, I'm optimistic for the same reasons you are. I just don't voice it too much on the other podcast because it's like, it's arguing with people is not fun. I don't like it. I'm a
yeah,
Virgo, so I don't do
there you go.
it.
See, I'm as a Libra, I'm really I love to tussle. I love to spar with you about different ideas, but I don't like it when it gets personal.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, and not being able to um disagree is another one. You got to have that bone in your body. Otherwise you're only driving yourself crazy. Like I can distance myself from things because I say, okay, I disagree. Later.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like
Well,
there's nothing anyone could ever say to me that would offend me. You know what I mean? Like, and that's because I don't let you have that power. You know what I mean? You can say whatever the fuck you want about my mother right now. Do you think that's going to get me to a point where I get excited about it or get upset? No, because I'm controlling my reaction to it. You can say whatever the hell you want, but I'm in
yeah,
control of me.
that's a good point. I think that's a really important thing as well. Like,
I learned that from Tony Robbins. Thank you.
there you go. Yeah, like you don't want to hand your power over to somebody by giving them control of you. Like if you're like, oh well, you said this, so that's why. No, well, you chose to allow that to affect you that way. You have that power, and you gave it away. You gave that person
Hmm.
authority over your. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it's true.
It's usually a mental midget that's gonna, allow that to happen. You know.
Yeah, yeah, and like emotional people with a lot of emotional traumas in a certain area might have triggers too, which can
Sure.
happen. But part of the reason though that I think that our culture is not going to recover and restore the beautiful order of Christian Europe that produced the music and the architecture and art of Europe, which people still travel thousands of miles to go visit, is because, like you were referencing earlier, you lost an appreciation for art. Everything just became kind of much more functional. But then now you've social media now developing into AI, you've lost personal appreciation for the personal, for connection. So people have this, it's just constant stimuli with the doom
Hmm.
scrolling or whatever. Or now it's like the synthetic stimuli through AI where people are befriending and be closer to AI and AI personality in their life than anybody else. It's wild.
Yeah. How far is it gonna go? I mean, it's pretty amazing how far it's already come. You know, like just like some of these videos that you can make, just by typing in a few keywords, and AI can make you almost a full length movie now, and that's coming. I think by the end of this year or next year, Elon Musk said.
Well, and they already have, like, I don't know if you heard me say this earlier, but a number of my clients um, used to work in the um, like software programming field for 35 plus years, and they lost their jobs. They were all
Mhm.
fired because they were replaced by one engineer and an AI and a team of AI bots that are producing code much faster and more. So I think what's interesting, I think we're going to see universal basic income before the end of Trump's first term. I mean, before the end of this, before he leaves office, I think
Mm.
we're going to see some form of universal basic income. It's accelerating too. I know that sounds like an aggressive timeline, but everything is accelerating so quickly in terms of AI. I think there's going to be a crisis of unemployment because no companies are going to need to hire. A vast majority of companies are not going to need to hire people. And then what are you going to do? Universal basic income. How are you going to make sure people aren't rioting in the streets? So calm them down, throw some money at them.
Yeah. I mean, it's getting awfully close to communism, and that's scary in itself. Then on top of that, you know, with corporations like Palantir and BlackRock and all them other ones, State Street and it's the Vanguard. I feel like we're putting too much power in all these corporations. But it seems unavoidable.
Yeah. So one of the things, so I'm not sure. I'm not 100% familiar with um, BlackRock's structure. I believe they're a hedge fund, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not
They
100% sure.
basically own pretty much parts of every company that you can think of. All of your mainstream companies, they own a major portion of.
So, and then State Street and Vanguard are the other ones. Now,
Hmm.
Vanguard, the reason that my understanding of the financial markets and everything is that the reason why Vanguard owns all this money is because, I mean, owns all these parts of these companies is because Vanguard, well, not just Vanguard, but so many other groups like Fidelity or whatever, they have all these retirement accounts that people don't choose where to invest. They just put them all in funds that
Hmm.
are kind of in a default manner, a lot of them invested like an ETF is oftentimes, it's already just like it's a set standard for how it's invested in the markets. So yeah, Vanguard technically on the books holds all of those companies or parts of those companies, but really the owner is their clients. But I mean, I guess they have voting rights in these companies from the stock, so I guess that's the power play right there is they can
Hmm.
control it from that
Well,
aspect. But
yeah. I
it's
mean, look at like they can push agendas within these companies and push values down, much like we saw with Target and even Bud Light. You know,
yeah.
they push agendas on people, and then people fluctuates and they lose money. And they get, what's causing this crypto crash right now? Like, holy shit! I just barely checked the tiny bit of crypto I had just earlier today, and I was like, holy cow, lost a
What is it?
third.
What is it at now? It's Bitcoin's down a third from where it was earlier.
I don't know about Bitcoin per se, but just overall, all of them are down because I saw like Coinbase and some of these other companies sold all kinds of Bitcoins. Bitcoin really fluctuates the rest of the coins too. So when Bitcoin goes down, all of them kind of go down.
Did you see about the connection, the alleged connection between? Well, that's maybe I should say released in the Epstein files. The connection between Epstein and Bitcoin.
Was there actually some release? I know that guy, what's his name? Dan Pena or something like that.
Yeah.
I know that he said something like, you don't know who's behind it. He made some comment years ago.
hmm
But is it official? There was an Epstein release. What's it?
In the emails, apparently there was. Well, it doesn't seem like he was the one who created it, but when he found it, he put a ton of money into it. Apparently, raised a lot of money for it, gave it its initial, and then just made tons of money off it. But that's how they would make their transactions off the books, basically. Um, but there was a lot of emails about like how to take control of the Bitcoin networks or framework by having so much of it, and I don't know. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's moving markets, moving money around.
I mean,
Um,
crypto's concerning because it's tracked
mhm.
and it's not cash. So if you don't meet the standards of behavior or whatever else, one could imagine that they could start to restrict. But the
Well,
things
they
that,
could already do that right now with your money in the bank.
yeah, it's fair.
Just because you give me a plastic card doesn't guarantee me I'm gonna be able to get money from it.
Yep.
Doesn't mean I'm gonna be able to buy anything from it.
Yeah. No, it's true. And then I will say this though, the currency, the information currency is the one that I think is most abused and most dangerous. and that's why Palantir is really that to me is the biggest concern.
Was it Saturday we were just talking about that data controlling, or maybe it was me and Templar? I think we're talking about it.
Monday.
Yeah, yeah, it must have been Monday. And we were talking about just controlling that data. Your data is more valuable than anything to them. They already have all the money.
Just print more of it.
Dude, they're getting ready to. They just announced they're putting out so much more money. It's not 16 trillion. That can't be right. That's way too high. Maybe it was however many billions, I forget. Hold on, let me see. See if I can find it real quick.
Yeah, it's wild, man. I mean, it's just, to me, it underlines how you have to have, again, just like we were talking about with letting somebody else get you angry. We have to take ownership of our own internal peace and our own peace of mind, because the stuff that we're about to see in the world, it would seem, is going to be unsettling. And if we allow it to unsettle us and to cause us to lose I mean, look at how many people literally lost their marbles during the COVID era. Like the COVID lockdowns, they're like not the same people. And like, that's on you, you know?
Yeah. Can I share my screen? Do you mind?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you tell me what this number says. I'll make it full screen for you.
Trillion, 16 trillion. Yeah. That's
Let's
crazy.
just say this week. This week.
So, you know what's wild is, okay, so here, let's get this on the record. I know I've said it on the live stream before, on a Saturday stream, but it'd be interesting. I just want to get this out there, and I'd love to hear any of your predictions. Um, I firmly believe, as I've said for years, Bitcoin's going to go to zero. I also firmly believe that we're going to see hyperinflation soon. I also believe we're going to hit universal basic income soon, and a removal of income tax. It's going to be wild.
Well, that income tax is coming. That's supposed to be coming this year. And I don't know. Why do you think Bitcoin's going to crash? Like, why do you think it's going to go so low? I mean, I can see it going down more for sure. I don't know if it'll ever go to zero, though. Do you think?
Yeah, I do. I think part of the reason is that was my impression for a long time, and Pena reinforced it. But for me, when you look at the blockchain technology, it was an important step towards the infrastructure of cryptocurrencies that they have now and the acceptance of it. But ultimately, it's too expensive to mine. The mining doesn't pay enough. The transactions are too expensive and too slow. There isn't. It's just there's no use case for it. Whereas a lot of these other um, cryptocurrencies, there's a use case for it. Like XRP can actually can be used and integrated with the Swift system or with the banking system to process transactions, to move money around instantaneously, almost free. It's like fractions of what it costs for Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin was to break the because it's so inefficient, and it's not. It's like now, like nobody listens to an 8 track.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody
Why, well,
plays an old.
why not? I've got this sweet piece of vinyl.
Right? No, nobody, like very few people, and I would say in less as the boomers move on, so to speak, this number will drop to near zero. How many people have a VHS in their home anymore?
It's true.
Right?
My
So I think
mom has
Bitcoin,
one, I think.
or like Bitcoin is the 5.5 inch floppy disks of the original computers, the ones that were kind of like literally floppy. And you had to like push them all the way in and click it down. And anyways, crazy times, right? But like
Mm-hmm.
that's not, nobody uses that anymore. Nobody. It's completely worthless. That's Bitcoin. It was an important step to getting where we are now, but it's useless long term.
Yeah. And
And
you
I know
might
that.
very well be right. But what's it going to be replaced with is the question. Is it like a treasury crypto or?
So this is how I envision it. It might not be the exact. I mean, this could be way off. But the way by seeing what I'm seeing right now, what I'm thinking is, so XRP or Ripple, it's the same. It's Ripple is the company, Ripple Labs, and they have XRP as their token, their cryptocurrency. Um, they've started creating what they call stable coins that run on the Ripple blockchain. So they've already has all the infrastructure, they've got all everything, and now you can have like an RLUSD, which is it's tied 1 to 1 to the US dollar, and which then if they get rid of the dollar, then they're just going to tie it to the economy or the GDP or whatever, right? Do something like that. I don't know, but then you can have your XRP as the new store of value, because you could take your XRP wallet and go to any place in the US, swipe it, and it's immediately paid for in RLUSD. And there's going to be an internal transaction of how many RLUSD equals an XRP at that moment, right? But then, next week you find yourself in Russia and you swipe the same card that has the same XRP on it, and now it's, the Rupal stable coin or whatever, right? So like that's well, then when you see Ripple is buying up Hidden Road, which is a huge clearinghouse for international transactions, and like incredible amount of billions of dollars go through there every day. So they're making really heavy moves. If you look up, if you were to go, like anyone watching too, just Google Ripple Labs acquisitions over the last 2 years. They're really making a move to take over the Swift system. Imagine that, where you have the tracking and digital, like, tokenization of everything combined. Now, for us human beings, that's not really useful because there's no way we could actually possibly analyze and crunch that much data to find anything worthwhile or useful. AI can,
Sure. A human can create an AI program too.
right? Did you see that it's the newest Palantir technology? I forget what it's called, but like it shows a video of like a special forces team coming in on an enemy location, and they have this augmented reality lens right in their helmet, and there's cameras and sensors in each of their helmets, but it syncs all of their vision. So and any drones that are overhead looking down, so they can actually see. So it shows from this one guy's viewpoint, and he can see on the other side of one of those metal shipping containers is a tango, or an enemy unit with an AR or something like that. Right? He's standing there with a gun behind. He can't see him, but one of the other guys on the team can see him, and the spatial recognition and the AI, like, virtual representation is so accurate, it's as if he can see right through the
through
container. It's
yeah, through the walls. Yeah,
insane.
wow. What could go wrong, right?
I know. I know. And then I think they're already using on the streets those robotic dogs, the
Yeah.
things that look like the little, yeah. So I mean, not to doom and gloom, it's not really. I think it's just important to, like, understand the possible scenarios and the potential path, and just realize, all right, we have to have the best influence on the people around us, be at peace ourselves, and just be the best people we can be. And
Yeah. I wish I understood more about the crypto stuff though, because like I just blindly hold a little bit of it. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, what's Binance? You know what I mean?
uh,
I got some BNB. What the hell's that mean?
yeah, I back in the day, I don't know if I told you this, I used to have a little crypto fund that I ran myself. So I traded capital for folks and got them returns and took my little commission off the top. But I was decent day trader in my day.
Huh. Yeah, I, like I'm just a dummy when it comes to those things. I don't know enough about it, and I wish I would have, like, when I first got these cryptos, they went up and up and up right away, and I wish I would have just cashed them in right then, But
Yeah.
now I'm losing money.
I don't think it's really that important to know much about, frankly. I
Probably
mean,
not.
it doesn't change my life at all. I know more than I need to, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't day trade that stuff anymore. So
Yeah, I mean, it's all going to be out of our hands anyways. It's all going to be a universal basic income just dispersed to us on a card every month, you know? But
yeah,
what
what?
scares me is like, is food and stuff, is there going to be food shortages? Is this going to be, is that going to be a result of something like this? Are people going to start growing more of their own food? It gives them time to do if they don't have to work, they can grow their own food. So I mean, there could be some benefits there somewhere. If the you know I don't want to have to rely on that to get my food supply. You know what I mean? But if they want to cover rent and utilities, is that a bad thing?
No, I mean, yes and no. I mean, it's. I don't think food is. I mean, I think when they get rid of income tax, I think they're going to replace it eventually, if not immediately, with a alternate tax, which they're going to call a consumption tax. And so you only have to pay when you buy things. So if you save, you never have to pay taxes. You want to hand over a huge insurance and inheritance to your family, you can because you've never spent any of it, so you never pay taxes on it. But then that consumption tax is going to be adjusted with and weighted differently for how environmentally damaging or this or that product is, and so it's going to be like uh, uh, you know you're going to be rationed in your amount of meat you can have every month or something like that.
Yeah, based on your social credit score and like,
And
oh,
then
this
social
just it's
credit on
just
top of it.
it
Yeah.
just sounds funner and funner. I can't wait.
Well, I had an interesting conversation, right? I had an interesting conversation with my brother actually yesterday about this because ultimately, so a lot of people in the South here. I've only lived here for a couple of years. So this is a new culture for me, really. A lot of people live in these little small towns, and the most they've done is move. They've like moved to the next town over,
Yeah.
or visited the next town over.
Oof.
So they live in their own 15-minute, self-created 15-minute city, and they're happy as clams. Like they're some of the happiest people in the world. They just live very simple, humble lives. So like, I think it's also like you remember Julian Assange. He was locked up for like 8 years or whatever. I don't remember exactly how many years it was, but he went in one interview. He said something I'll never forget. So, um, he said the most beautiful thing about because he was asked, well, how are you doing in here after so many years? He's like, well, the most beautiful things about the human person is our ability to adapt and grow accustomed to any situation. He's like, I'm fine. He said, the most tragic and troubling part aspect of the human person is that we can adapt to any situation and grow accustomed to it. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah. It's
So,
dualistic to quote your boy.
yeah, right. But that's where I feel like just like surrounding ourselves with good people, keeping ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically healthy by not like getting caught up in all of the drama and the fear and anxiety about what's going on that we can't control, right? We can literally just be at peace, and even if it's 15-minute cities, like, shoot, fine. If I got my loved ones around me, what do I need to go hours away for? If it's just for a time or for longer than a time, I could still keep my peace and my happiness.
Hmm. And that's how it used to be. So maybe we're headed in the right direction. See, we're not
Well,
so black pilled.
and maybe that's what we exactly and maybe that's what we need in order for people to kind of throw off the oppressive regime that is here and reset things back to the nuclear family again, smaller
Yeah.
communities again. So
Yeah. Could happen. I believe.
I believe.
But, you know, it's gonna be still tough to get to that point. I don't know if it'll happen in my lifetime. But the way things are accelerating, you never know.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the thing that's impressed me is the acceleration, because I think a lot of people have seen it coming for a while. I don't know if anybody expected it to start happening. The things that we're seeing being put in place now to be happening this quickly.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, dude, next it's gonna be all self-driving cars. Ain't nobody gonna have cars. I mean, get ready for the future.
that I am looking forward to. Self-driving cars.
I mean, they have them out by me right now. Like, it's just the next city over. I could get one. They
You
started using
know,
going down the highways now. So
oh, they did. Nice.
yeah.
Okay, that was the big. I know that was a step. Um, yeah, for me, like when I went out to LA, I felt so much safer in the Waymo car,
The only thing
AI
that
driven
seems
car.
scary is there's no way for it to correct like a human would. You know what I mean? Like if like let's say like I, if I'm driving, I can see this car coming at me and I can correct my course to get out of the way of said vehicle coming at me, or if a kid jumps out in front of me, I can adjust, but can the car do all this? I mean,
Well, so yeah, I don't know if it can, like, if a car's coming head on, you can steer away. Would it just brake? I don't know the answer to that. But I
it
saw,
just
like,
brakes and braces for impact. I mean,
right, right, right. Well,
release the airbags early. So
what's funny is the first time I got in the Waymo, it started going down the street I was in the Airbnb on, and within 50 feet, there was a truck that was like doing yard work that pulled out just kind of quickly out in front of us, and it was so smooth. It came to a complete stop at a safe distance and just waited for it to pass. And then there was some guy in the street for a second, and it just waited and then moved. Like, it was so smooth. Like, a human being would have been like maybe screwing with the radio or with the cell
yeah.
phone or whatever. Hey, Blue.
Did you see the video of the police had stopped somebody and they had a suspect on the ground at gunpoint, and they were, trying to take him out of his vehicle and whatnot. And then the self-driving car went through the like crime scene, like right by the dude.
I
So
did not see that. That's
yeah,
crazy.
drove right through him while they're holding that gunpoint. And the self-driving car drives almost hit the guy. Like, so that's a little
That's
scary.
Yeah, I gotta update the software there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, and it's funny. I mean, the world is so rapidly changing, and you've heard uh, they call them VTOLs
What's
or
that?
VTALs. It's VTAL. It's vertical takeoff and landing. So they're like
Mm.
taxis that they're going through the last phases of FAA approval for like taxis or vehicles that we could take from our driveway straight up about 30 feet and then zip over to the next, and they're gonna have it's gonna be crazy.
They better have good batteries, man. We can't be having no vehicles falling out of the sky because the battery just dies. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like my cell phone battery be dying quick sometimes.
yeah. If you haven't, I love it.
That's funny, Blue.
Blue, with regard to that, like, if you have if or for anyone, if you haven't watched I mean, if you haven't ridden into one of these self-driving, it's so safe. It feels so safe. I was really surprised. um so I mean, who knows where it's all going, but
Yeah, I know they have a bunch of them on the other side of town, and then they just started bringing them towards my side of town. So, um, I don't know. I would definitely try one just for the experience of it, but I don't
so
know if I'm ready to just hop on board with it altogether.
it is a really cool, like, just like being a kid, just putting myself, like, put yourself in your kid brain again for a second, right? It is really cool. It's like Star Trekky. So when you sign up on the app, and then there's a big blue button, right, that you push when you get there to say confirm that it's you or whatever, and then they open the door, and the first time you get in, they give you like instructions, and it's like your orientation to like the safety protocols or whatever of the AI truck, of the AI vehicle. And so, like, right when I got in, so there was like they had an air freshener in there. It smelled perfectly clean. There was this soft, quiet, like almost like lounge music, but one that you would hear in the Star Trek lounge. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was this futuristic, chill, lo-fi lounge music, right? And
Okay.
I sat down, and it's like this super high tech sounding lo-fi, and but peaceful, and then everything smells clean, everything looks clean, everything's so comfortable. There's the sky, the whole rooftop is just almost it was almost entirely glass. Like the visibility was incredible. And then it was just like, as soon as I sat down, it was like, welcome, Jonah. You know, enjoy. Welcome to Waymo. You know, it was like this total, like, you from the Star Trek movies back in the day. You know, so it was just it was a cool experience. I'm not gonna lie.
So, what happens when a drunk user throws up all over the car? Does the car clean itself, or when does like, does it know that something happened and like a human needs to come clean it, or some other robot needs to come clean it? Like, does it?
They've got cameras watching you from every angle.
Mm,
Which I don't know if you
lovely.
like that, but
Oh,
um,
I love it. I love
well,
having cameras on me at all times, Jonah.
most of us are are sending constant selfies to the marketing companies every second, um,
Right.
or well, mostly most of the day. But no, so that I think probably what it would do is it wouldn't try to go pick up anybody else, and it would actually go for a full cleaning. But here's the cool thing is
You almost said it again.
almost again. The cool thing is, like, I mean, I'm sure, like, because they have all your card information. I mean, they would just dock you for whatever cost for cleaning.
Oh,
You
I'm
know?
sure. I'm sure, and I'm sure it's a hefty one too.
Yeah. Well,
I
but
think
then
I think Uber and Lyft charge like 250 or something like that.
I've been in an Uber where it was clear that somebody had thrown up recently, and they like didn't clean it well. Like they tried maybe, but they didn't clean it well. Like, you don't have to deal with all that crap. Like they have corporate standards. You know?
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying it was a nice experience.
yeah,
It's going that way anyways. It's not
yeah.
like we're gonna stop
Can't
it.
deny the
So,
process. It's
and no,
coming.
that's not. I will say it again, and I will say it again, and I will say it again. It's not a black pill to just recognize what's coming and to caution people about it. To say, hey,
Right,
wake up, watch what's coming. That doesn't mean you have to stop it or have to try to stop it, because you might not be able to, because there's very little in our control in the grand scheme of things. But that doesn't mean we have to put our head in our sand and think that everything's going to be hunky dory, or that
right. Got
me
to keep
losing.
some sort of positive mindset.
Absolutely. Well, what a great conversation, man. Always a pleasure. Kind of bounce around. You know, never know where it's going to go, but it's always a good one. I
Yeah, well,
appreciate you,
thank
man.
you. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's an honor to finally be in the presence of a king.
I should be like, welcome to the castle, sir.
Welcome to the kingdom of Jonah.
Come to my feast.
Come philosophize with me.
I don't know if you saw one of the, there's it's like really tempting. There's some like old Italian or old Scottish castles that you get for like $50,000, $100,000. Lots of work is going to be needed to put into them, but oh man, it's tempting. It's tempting. Make it
Well,
like the world's best Airbnb.
I'm gonna need a few more subscribers to my X page for that.
That's right. So obviously, you guys all know. Speaking of which, you guys all know where to find Snoop's podcast, phoneboothpodcast.substack.com, under the Here's the Thing tab. Obviously, Snoop, at Snoop Von Poop on Twitter,
Hmm.
all the great places. Obviously, you know where to find Philosopher King. And don't forget to join us for Cup of Joan in the morning. We're still plugging our way through this wonderful philosophy book. And last but not least, especially since Blue is here, I'll remind you all we're in the middle of a fast, actually, just first full day of the fast. So check out the Philosopher King page on Substack. It's pinned at the top. It will stay there for the next week or 5 days, whatever it ends up being. But the plan is to do a 5 to 7 day fast and just kind of play it by ear, and everybody can join in for however long they want. Um, I think most of us started. I think Blue, you ended up starting this morning today as well, right? Um, but anyway, so we're just doing a water fast, nothing crazy. But check it out. That episode that's pinned on the Philosopher King podcast is a video kind of where we talk about some of the benefits of Blue, and I talk about some of the benefits of fasting, talk about some of the different discipline things, etc. And yes, Blue restarted this morning. Awesome. And she feels great. I do too. Although I think Blue, I don't know. I was just telling Snoop earlier. And last thing before I'll give you the last word, Snoop, before we part. Um, but I think because I supplement nicotine, but I don't like the patches because I don't like the stickiness. So I just take the little pouch. I have like just a couple a day just to try to get close to that 7 milligrams that's recommended for health supplements. And I tested midday with the little ketone strips, and I have like very low ketones, which is it should be a lot higher for the. I've been fasting for 24 hours now, so no bueno. So I think it might be the little satchel. So I got to cut those out, which is fine. I'm not addicted, Snoop.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So we're going to see if that works. Any final thoughts for the people before we lock it down, land the plane?
I got 2 words. Peanut butter.
Peanut butter. I love it, man. All right. Well, thanks so much. Thanks so much, man, for coming on the podcast this evening. Thank you all for being here, hanging out with us.
Thanks for
And
having me, man.
absolutely, man. It's a pleasure. All right. Well, we will see you guys tomorrow morning for Cup of Jonah and all throughout the week with the various phone booth podcasts at substack.com.
That's right. Don't forget to check out the Pick Is In tomorrow night, too.
That's right. All right.
Yeah.
That's Thursday nights now. That's right.
Yeah.
Thursday night. What time?
Good question. 8 p.m. Eastern.
8 p.m. Eastern. There you go. 8 p.m. EST.
EST.
Love it.
Good night, everybody.